Alright, this is Vicki giving my final persuasive speech for the class, and it's going to be on the physician-assisted suicide and why it should be correct. Life is about choices, whether we choose which clothes we're going to wear, what to eat for dinner, or if we should seek medical care. Every minute of every day we are forced to make decisions of whether that will affect the fate of our life. Choice is defined as the right, the power, or the opportunity to choose. We are forced every day to live our life. We do not have the choice to decide our fate of death. But this is not necessarily what should be appropriate. We cannot choose to die, but we can choose to live. Even the people who suffer the worst pain despite of what their condition is, they have no choice to end their life despite how competent medically they are. Shouldn't we have the right to say when enough is enough? Today I will convince you why it is right to have physician's assistants to help you to end your choice of life. As a nurse, I see firsthand medically how some of the patients have to deal with their medical conditions and their devastating lives. They have to live with the long-term effects of depression and the medications they have to live on just to be able to make it through each day. I will provide evidence and some devastating stories that will also help to make your decision easier to feel this way. Suicide itself is considered illegal if you are able to carry out your own death. Assisted suicide is considered illegal and is also considered murder. But why should this be? If you are mentally capable of carrying out the action of committing your own suicide but not able to do it, and seek the help of those who can, shouldn't it be considered legal? Should they have to suffer and not be able to live their life because they are not able to do it themselves? Most people who seek physician-assisted suicide do this because they are terminally ill patients. According to Noel, who is a professor of medicine, we have the right to live, but we are unable to choose the right to die. So once again, even worse than pain, suffering, but have no choice. Enough is enough. So I want to share some stories with you to help out here. This is Terry Nicholson. He is a patient who was affected by a CVA or a cerebrovascular accident, which is considered a stroke. Because of his life and the way he had to live, he had what was known as a condition called a lock-in syndrome. That is a syndrome when you are mentally capable of knowing everything and would be able to do basically nothing from the head down. He was only capable of blinking his eyes. He has no capability of moving his mouth, speaking, moving any of his body parts, or being able to do any of his daily activities such as bathing, going to the bathroom, feeding himself, nothing. He sought out the help of a physician-assisted suicide but was unable to do it because it was not legal. This patient here is Diane Pretty. She suffers from what's called a motor neuron disease. That is a disease that affected her capability of being unable to function as well. She fought for physician-assisted suicide until she eventually died unsuccessful of having to do that. So she had to die knowing that she was going to have to end her life with a debilitating state, which eventually caused her to die from suffering of not being able to breathe, which was why she wanted to choose physician-assisted suicide in the first place, so she wouldn't have to have those devastating effects. So now that you've had a chance to hear some stories of the bad effects of some of the terminal illnesses, we should decide why physicians should be allowed to assist these people. Physicians take an oath, which is to do no harm and have it in the best interest of patients. They prescribe medications, educate their patients, and help patients withdraw from medication failure. But according to Friend, a professor of medicine, patients can hold meds and determine their own fate of death. However, when they choose to do this, it is at a much slower rate of death. So why should they be allowed to have to suffer, and why should we have to sit around and watch them knowing that what they are going through? So as we near the end of our speech, let's review why it should be acceptable for physician-assisted suicide. Physician-assisted suicide should be put in the hands of the people that are capable of being mentally competent and understanding everything. We've gotten the evidence and the proof from the stories, and we should consider that the quantity of life is not necessarily the best over the quality. So imagine yourself or your loved one and put yourself in the place of those who are suffering. Why should we have to allow those who are not able to do it to sit around and suffer and have to deal with the devastating effects? As a nurse who's witnessed this firsthand, I feel that we should allow the people who are in the terminally illness of their life to be able to decide their own fate. And here is my audience.
I vote for Vicky.
You could do it faster.
Audience.